Sylvia Henderson, CEO of Springboard Training, workshop facilitator, speaker, author, and TV host. Earlier in the program, she worked with us on how to present a positive first impression for ourselves and for our organization. Now she will help us discover how to create, control, and reinforce our personal and professional images in other ways. Let's bring back the motorcycle lady, Sylvia Henderson.
About ourselves. Did you? No. What do you think they might be? Just a guess. What do you think those kinds of images might be? Positive image, negative, good and bad, good thoughts. Any other? Come on ahead. Professional image. Okay, that's a good thought. And how about somebody that was in my previous session?
First impression.
First impressions. Okay.
And long-lasting impression.
Somebody listen! Excellent, excellent. Yes, there are two types of images that we can present to the world. One consists of the first impressions that we give. That's the first time somebody meets you, sees you, you walk into a room, or if you're on the telephone, the first time somebody hears you. And the other kind of image is the long-term, the impression that people get over time that you create, that you control, and that you can reinforce so that people have a certain perception of you long-term. We're going to talk today, now we're going to talk about that long-term impression, or that long-term perception, because we covered the first impressions earlier. Let me tell you how that works, at least for me, and why this motorcycle get-up. Now, you saw my bio, so you know that I ride a motorcycle. How many of you have ever ridden on the back of or ridden your own motorcycle? Raise your hand. Wow. Wow, that's great. How many of you have just seen a motorcycle go by? All right. Yes, that's most of you. Now, I want you to, because there's not enough room here, I want you to share with me, experience with me, the image that I got when I first saw motorcycles. So, take your arm, take your left arm, stick it out, and act like you're holding on to a handlebar. Not a bicycle handlebar, a handlebar. Okay? And take your other hand, and hold on to the handlebar, and just kind of twist. Don't get sexy with it, just kind of twist your wrist. Okay? That's how we make a motorcycle go. It's a throttle, and you turn the throttle, the motorcycle goes. Now, you're sitting in your chair, imagine that that's 800 pounds of steel and chrome between your legs. and that you're successfully managing that and controlling that. Now, how do you feel? Do you feel like, yeah, how do you like me now? Yeah, here I am. Okay. That's the image that I had. That's the image that I had when I first saw motorcycles go by. I was like, wow, that's powerful. And that image is the image that I wanted to present in everything I did, in my business, in my personal life. And so I started thinking in my head, powerful, confident. And that's the image that when I think about it, I acted. When I acted, people perceive it. And when people perceive it, that is their reality about me. And that's the image that I wanted to build. That's what we're going to talk about today, how we create, control, and keep going, keep that image going as we work in our personal and professional lives. Let's get going. So let's get back to the perception, because we're going to talk about today about that long-term perception, the long-term image that you create for yourself. On your program materials that you have in your hand, I've given you what I call my success formula. And you'll see that it says perception plus performance equals position. I repeat, perception plus performance equals position. Now, let me explain that just briefly before we get into it in depth. That means that you can be a great performer, but unless people perceive you to be ready, to be be ready for the promotion, to be ready for that interview, for the job offer, to be ready for anything, you still aren't positioned to succeed professionally or even personally. And now, image change to the business as opposed to the bike. That image, bringing that success formula more to reality. Let me share with you one personal story. Years ago, I was lucky enough, fortunate enough to work for a top Fortune 50 company that had very advanced, ahead of its time, employment policies. One of them was flex time. This was in years before flex time was common. By nature of where I lived, I commuted. I got to work at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I was a corporate trainer. And another advanced or ahead of its time personnel policy was that as long as our projects were done, as long as we were prepared for our classes in time for the class to start, we could come and we could go on our own time. Being the stellar employee that I was ready for class, I got my projects done, I arrived, by nature of where I lived, at 6 a.m. That means in the afternoon, depending on where I was project-wise and class-wise, I would leave 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, but then there were times when I would leave at 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, just like any technology company, which is the kind of company it was. One day, my manager calls me to his office. This is after a couple of years of very good performance evaluation. So there's the performance part of the equation. Very good performance. Manager sits me down. I need to talk to you, Sylvia, about your arrivals and departures. What do you mean? There's a problem with when you leave in the afternoons. We have flex time. What's the problem? I get my work done. You know I get my work done. So, what do you need to talk to me about? I need to tell you that there's a problem with you leaving at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and taking your 2-hour lunches occasionally. I thought that's what we were allowed to do. You know my stuff is done, and that I'm ready. I know you do well. I know you perform well. But I put your name in for recognition the other day. And in our environment, you know that there are maybe 2 or 3 spots for recognition in a year. And there are about 7 or 8 managers that are competing and talking about their people and how wonderful they are in order to get those 2 or 3 spots. And when I put your name in, I got voted down. Voted down? What do you mean you got voted down? I thought you said I'm a good performer. You said that you don't have a problem with me. So how could I not get the recognition that I deserve, obviously, if you put my name in? Calm down. I'm fine. But the perception of the other managers with whom I was competing, and it is a competition, the perception is that you come and you go as you please, and you're not pulling your weight. So, why should I care about their perception? As long as you, my manager, knows what I do. You just do. It's a fact of business life. Wow. That moment, it became crystal clear to me that my performance isn't enough. That how I acted, how I looked, how other people saw me was also what went into the equation of my professional success at that company. that's why today we're going to talk about how you create, how you control, because it is something you can control, and how you reinforce the perceptions that other people have of you